And good afternoon. This is the Thursday Crew edition of Hawk Talk. You're listening to 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater, and tuning in on UWW-TV through YouTube. We look to have a very good show today, obviously with my esteemed crew of Hunter, Adam, Chris, Ryan, and Alex. Look forward to talking sports with you guys. So, without further ado, we are going to get into our Warhawk thought for today. So, guys, I want you to name what you believe the greatest nickname in all of sports is. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of very iconic nicknames, some ranging all the way back, to like the 80s, and there's been a lot of interesting ones. Not a lot that we probably can't talk about on Hawk Talk, but I would like to know what the best and most iconic nickname is, and we're gonna start with Adam for this one.
Well, I had to because I just couldn't side with one, so I went with Derek the Jeter. Derek the Captain Jeter.
Okay.
Or Frank the Big Hurt Thomas.
Okay.
Because those are pretty iconic.
They are
names.
Indeed. What made you go for baseball for this one? I know that nicknames, for all sports. So why did you decide to go baseball for this one?
Well, it's the sport that I know most about.
No, that's fair enough. Well, it's a good thing that we have a topic on baseball coming up here. So let's move over to Chris. What do you got?
You won't be disappointed.
I've got Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba.
The Black Mamba.
But I also got another one, the White Mamba, Brian Scalabrine.
Can't forget about Scalabrine. That's a cult classic right there. He's a legend. White Mamba and Black Mamba. All right, let's move over to Ryan. What do you have?
I'm going to give some respect to the big man over here, William Perry, the Fridge.
There you go. There you go. I kind of figured someone would come up with that one. Yeah. Very iconic. All right, move over to Alex. What do you have?
So I have six, but I'll give you one of them. My roommate actually wanted me to choose. He's a big Bears fan. He wanted me to do Peanut Tillman, Charles Tillman. So I think that one's his favorite. So yeah.
Okay, big Bear fan. All right, Peanut Tillman. Yeah. He was the one, Peanut Punch?
Yeah.
Is that what
Punch.
And now we see that all the time in the NFL. Yeah.
Iconic.
Very iconic player. And let's finish up with Hunter.
Give me Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. Love that nickname. I think it's so good. Short story short, the Honey Badger.
Yeah.
Very good on the Chiefs.
Another iconic. Yeah, he was good on the Chiefs. He's on the...
Is he on the Saints now?
Yeah, he's still on the Saints.
Yeah.
How do you feel about having him on the Saints?
He's actually not bad. I mean, for how old he is, I think he's actually not doing too bad, especially last season. He actually had a pretty good season last year, and I think the year before that he was still on there, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely a little bit undersized as a safety, but still a very good player. So, with all those iconic nicknames, I suppose I should probably say mine. I'm going to be extremely biased in the two nicknames that I have. My two favorite players of all time, which is LeBron James and Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, the Sheriff. I just think it's very iconic given his play style. He was big into just studying the team before the game, just taking control of the game, always calling out things at the line of scrimmage, safety blitzes, blitz packages, all that. And King James, I mean, it's LeBron James.
Yeah.
We're not going to go too heavy into that because I could keep talking about that for the whole show, but we're not going to do that today because...
Put you, Laz, and Colin on a show. It'll just all be LeBron.
It's funny. Last semester, we actually were on a show together.
Really?
Yep. And there was a topic where it was, I think it was NBA predictions, for the playoffs. We went through the entire thing. And we actually had the Lakers going all the way.
And did you predict Jamal Murray? Does that name haunt you as well? As it does?
Well, Ryan, let me tell you. The day after that game, let me tell you, that was the worst feeling that I've ever had as a sports fan after a game. Wow. And the day after that, I had Hawk Talk, and I went on a 15-minute rant about what the Lakers are doing wrong and why that was just the worst thing. I even said he should be deported, but back to Canada. I know, very aggressive, but,
that's... Wow. That went from 0 to 100 rather quickly.
So, but, in hindsight, I wish all the best for Jamal Murray. I don't want him to be deported. He's a good player. So, but anyways, enough about LeBron James, enough about the Lakers, yeah. Let's move on to other sports. Our first topic of the day is Oktoberfest. We're talking about playoff baseball here. Currently, the Yankees and Guardians are playing. This is Game 3. Yankees were up 1-0, and then...
No, they're down 2-1 now.
Really? They were up 1-0, and then Manzardo homered to right, putting them up 2-1. So Yankees could lose this game. Could be a 2-1 series. Could be a 3-0 series. So, and then obviously dominant Dodger win last night. So, I just want to see from you guys, what do you think the potential World Series matchup is going to be for just looking forward? Are we going to see a Guardians comeback? Are we going to see Shohei and the Dodgers take it all? And then who do you guys think are like X factors from the remaining teams to help them probably push them over the top? Let's start with Chris in the fishbowl.
My prediction is Yankees-Dodgers. I think those two teams have just been the best in these series, especially the Dodgers. They've been doing really good. Games 1 and 3 were really hot from. Game 2 was a little shaky, but they started to, rally a little too late. But it was a big Game 2 still for them. But I got Dodgers, Yankees, and the big player, obviously, you got to look at the Dodgers and see Shohei Ohtani. I mean, if he's the big X factor, just how hot he's been this postseason. And then for the Yankees, it's kind of tricky for me. Aaron Judge is now starting to get a little hot, it looks like. We know he hasn't been the biggest performer in the postseason, but if he does go over the top in the rest of this ALCS and even the World Series, that will really be a big thing that will help the Yankees out. Because like I said, the past, Aaron Judge just hasn't been a big playoff performer. This year, if he gets hot, it's going to be a tough one to beat the Yankees.
So you're going with the Blue Bloods in the World Series. That is one thing I will say I don't really care too much about baseball, is it seems like all the teams with the most money, just make it every year. But yeah, Yankees, they've been a team that has really struggled to do something in the postseason. So it's a little bit surprising to see them just on the brink of a World Series. And then going back to Shohei Ohtani, it's crazy that this is his first playoffs. 7 years in, and he's just now making the playoffs. Just tells you how bad the Angels were. But let's go over to Ryan. What are you thinking for the World Series here?
Well, I ranked all 4 potential matchups, but my number 1 is also Dodgers-Yankees. You touched a little bit on the payroll, Zach. Yankees are at $309.4 million. They're number 2, and the Dodgers are $241 million, ranked 5th in all of baseball. And I mean, it's going to be the biggest stars, biggest market, biggest stage, and the biggest games. So it's what baseball wants at the end of the year. Obviously, me personally, I love underdog stories, and I would love for the Brewers to be there. Still a little hurt on that one. But I mean, secondly, I have Dodgers Guardians. I think the pitching in that one would be phenomenal to watch. And then you got the Subway Series, Mets Yankees. I think that one is probably a real possibility that could happen too, because the Mets are only down 2-1 right now in the series, and they play Game 4 tonight. And I just think that would be an absolutely electric atmosphere. The Mets would surely be the underdog, but I mean both sides fans travel well. And then Mets Guardians, it'd be underdog versus underdog. The Mets sneaking into the playoffs at the end. The Guardians won their division, but they're a small market team as well. And Francisco Lindor played for Cleveland in that one too. So.
Yeah, so who do you think from those matchups? So your top matchup was...
top matchup was Dodgers-Yankees. That's who I think it's going to be.
Okay. So who do you think an X factor from either one of those teams could be, just looking forward to a possible World Series matchup?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the Yankees just added Anthony Rizzo back to the roster. I think adding that big lefty bat, he loves the short porch and right in Yankee Stadium. It just provides another veteran presence on the squad. A sure guy to have at first base. And then I also listed Juan Soto as well, because you get him hot. You have him and Judge as your outfielders. I know Judge played center field last night. And I think Verdugo's in lefts, but you get Juan Soto rolling. He's a hard guy to stop.
Yeah, I certainly agree. And I did like the second matchup that you had ranked, which would be Yankees and Mets. I do think a New York matchup would be kind of cool. Yeah. I guess that's also just me expecting the Mets to make the playoffs just because they beat the Brewers. But, yeah, that would definitely be a pretty cool matchup. Let's go over to Alex.
I also agree with what everyone else has said. I actually think the Brewers' blessing ends here. I think the Yankees and Yankees and Dodgers face each other in the World Series. I mean, the Yankees, this is actually their first time being up 2-0 in the postseason since 2009. That's a little stat there. I think the Yankees look good. Not a lot of question marks for the Yankees here. And I think this is the best they've looked in a while. I think they win against the Guardians here. I think they take. I think the Mets. I think the Guardians probably take the third game. Maybe take this game here. But yeah, definitely got Yankees and Dodgers in the World Series. And also, the Dodgers offense is looking really good. And I knew they wouldn't have trouble with that. But their pitching definitely worried me a little bit. But Game 3 kind of settled those worries. So, I mean, that's huge. I mean, 13 total strikeouts, 4 allowed hits. that's just really good baseball. And it almost looked like vintage Walker Buehler there a little bit. That Lindor strikeout was just huge to finish out the second inning. And his 3 hits he gave up weren't bad either. There were 2 infield hits and a flare to right field that Mookie almost had. But yeah, I think it's a huge step forward. And so far, the Dodgers-Mets series hasn't been super interesting. But yeah, I think the Dodgers definitely take it here. And then my X Factor players for the Dodgers and Yankees. So I also have Shohei Ohtani. I think he's just a great hitter. I think that's pretty obvious there. And then the Yankees, I actually have Carlos Rodon. He's just had some dominant pitching performances in these series. And he leads the team in strikeouts for the postseason. I just think he's a great pitcher, and I think we're going to see more of him.
Yeah, pitching certainly in the playoffs is, like, when you get your rotations down, that's definitely going to be really helpful in the long run. Like you were saying, Walker Buehler, absolute masterclass, 0 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, which was huge. The series really hasn't really been like such a back and forth. It's just been like one blowout after the other. Hasn't really been like a really close game yet. So hoping to see maybe a little more competitiveness from both those series. But I definitely agree. I like the call out for the pitching from the Yankees, because that's something that has really just like bitten them in the, for many years now, because they always seem to be at the top, but then they never really seem to be able to make that push towards the World Series. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Let's go over to Hunter.
I'm going to break the chain here. I still think it's going to be a Subway Series, World Series. All the Mets need to do is compete with the Dodgers' runs that they put up, because the Dodgers, they're going to hit the ball every night. I mean, their talent is too good to not be hitting the ball. A crazy stat I saw, though, was Shohei is he's 7 for 9 with runners on base, and he's 0 for 22 with no one on base. That's kind of crazy to me. But I think the Yankees will handle this series probably 4-1 against the Guardians. Some X factors for the Mets. I got Jesse Winker and Jose Iglesias. They both have been very good these playoffs. Jose Iglesias being very good in the Phillies series, and Jesse Winker just being hot all series. As much as it hates me to say it, because what he said about the Brewers, I mean, he's just been an X factor for that team.
I was going to say Brewers
Winker,
villain. Brewers villain. That.
Winker, boo. Get out of here.
And then for the Yankees, I mean, you can say Aaron Judge, you can say Juan Soto, but I'm going to change it up here a little bit. I'm going to say Jazz Chisholm, and I don't know who is their lead off. Is it
Gleyber Torres leading off today.
Yeah, Gleyber
Yes,
Torres.
Yeah.
Torres today.
Oh, was it? Who was it? Yeah, it was someone else the other day, and he was like 3 for 4. It was like I don't know who it was, but I think it was Alex Verdugo.
Verdugo?
Yeah, Alex Verdugo. Yep.
Was it Doogie?
Yeah. So yeah, just some other names that can be X factors for these teams. I mean, you can always shout out the big names, but you got to look at the whole lineup when it comes to baseball.
Yeah, certainly. Jesse Winker was not a name that I was expecting to hear.
He's been hot.
Me
I
neither.
mean, he has,
I
but
just
man,
Please
Ben?
do not mention that name in my presence ever again.
I was gonna say, everyone living in the Milwaukee area is just fuming right now hearing that name. Not even seeing the guy, just hearing the name. But so just going back to, because you had Mets Yankees, right, for your matchup.
Yep.
So do you trust the Mets pitching enough against the Dodgers moving forward here?
Yes, but like I said, a lot of runs are going to be put up, so I think it's just going to be a battle of who is the better hitter that night. And because the other night, the Mets scored 7 runs and they had 10 hits, but the Dodgers scored 3 and they had 9 hits. So I mean, it's just a defensive game at the end of the day, and whatever pitching is better is better. I think the Mets pitching can keep up with this Dodgers pitching.
So you're saying we're going to see a lot of shootouts here next
Yep,
couple games?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Looking forward to some exciting baseball there. And then I saved Adam for last because I know you were very excited to get to this topic. So
Yes, sir.
what is your analysis for the World Series this year?
Well, I had one heck of a time trying to decide who I would have for this series, because all 4 teams and their pitching are just fantastic. But at the end of the day, I had to go with the Dodgers and the Guardians in the World Series, just because of not because of like just the offense for both teams, but because, well, okay, look, if you look at the Dodgers pitching, I mean, you have Shohei Ohtani, who's like a dual threat. I mean, he can hit the ball when he wants, but he can also pitch really well when he wants. I had him as that guy, like, to look out for. But I just think the Guardians pitching has been really good during like the entirety of the postseason. So I could see them overtaking the Yankees somehow, some way. So yeah, I have the Dodgers and the Guardians going at it in the Fall Classic this year.
Okay, yeah, and like we were saying, Guardians are up 2-1 on the Yankees right now, even if they are down 2-0. So we're expecting a comeback from the Guardians here against the Dodgers. That definitely would be a very interesting series to watch. And then you said your X factor. Who'd you say your X factor was?
Oh, it's definitely Ohtani.
Ohtani. Okay.
Because as I said, he's a dual threat, like not only on the mound but also at the plate as well.
Absolutely. That's I mean, we're watching greatness, in my opinion. I think that this dude is probably, now I'm not, the biggest, baseball guy, so I could be wrong in saying this. Could seem like a casual, but I think, in my opinion, Ohtani's probably one of the top 20, top 25 players that we've ever seen so far already.
Oh, no, I
That's
won't
fair to
disagree
say.
with you on that.
No?
That's fair to say.
No, I won't disagree with you.
Okay. Not a casual in baseball. Let's go. All right.
Rings will only boost that up if he gets a ring.
Very true.
It is upsetting that he went to the Dodgers, like a team that's very good, and just added more. But at the end of the day, it's money and it's a ring. You're getting both, so hopefully they get a ring. I mean, they are like the modern day Cowboys. They just choke
Yeah,
in the
they are.
playoffs.
Well, and if he pitches too, I mean,
Exactly.
he's only hit this year.
Exactly.
But like Adam was saying, he can be down on the mound, which I know they may have hinted at for the playoffs, but we haven't seen him on the mound yet. So probably next year, I think, is when he'll turn into the two-way star he was before.
Yeah, and that contract, too, when they signed it to him, I think the contract was like, what, $2 million a year until, like, what is this, like 7 years from now? And he's getting
deferred
$70
all of
million.
it.
Yeah. Very interesting contract. I think that might be something that we see like going forward too.
Yeah.
Just with teams trying to load up on talent. That goes back to the point of like baseball just being kind of like pay to win. Feels like a EA like Madden game. You just like got to pay for all the best players, and then you just come out on top. So, but yeah, Shohei. I was convinced personally that I thought he was going to the Cubs this past season because I thought with getting Craig Counsell, I thought that was going to be their big move was getting Shohei Ohtani. Especially still being in a big market, even though, Chicago hasn't been, like, the greatest. Still a big market. And I was convinced for whatever reason that he was going there. So I guess I should have expected the Dodgers. But
So Shohei's contract is, like you said, $2 million for the next 10 years, and then it's $68 million for 10 more years after that.
jeez.
Every year.
Wait, so they got this guy for, what, 20 years?
Technically.
Technically.
Like,
yeah.
the contract is up in 10 years, but then, like Bobby Bonilla for the Mets, like, they're still paying him to this day. So, like, the Dodgers will pay Shohei for the next 20 years.
Pay to win league.
Yep.
And with all that being said, great discussion about baseball. We're going to move on to what seems to be the reoccurring theme of every week. Obviously, we have the best picks of all time, undisputedly, and it is already week 7. Cannot believe I'm saying that. It is literally week 7 in the NFL. It feels like it's going by so fast. So as per usual, we're going to go through interesting matchups. And as we're talking about the matchups, I would like one bold prediction. For whatever game you have that for, say that when the game comes up. But obviously, should be reasonable. I don't expect anyone to say that Spencer Rattler is going to throw 6 touchdowns tonight, even though that might be really cool, for Alex, obviously, Saints fan. So, so we're going to start with our Thursday night game, which is not one of the better Thursday night games, I would say.
What?
Broncos.
This can be an interesting matchup.
You want to watch Broncos
Interesting,
Saints?
Dude.
Oh my goodness! Well, Saints have like half their roster.
Sad.
Rashid Shaheed just went on IR, too.
Yeah,
He's out for the season.
out for
Yeah.
the season. Yeah, that's takes away their deep threat. I think their wide receiver one's like Bub Means or something
Bub
like
Means, Cedric Wilson.
Oh, my goodness.
Picked up Cedric Wilson today in fantasy.
that. Smart move. Bub Means feels like that's gonna be a slideshow player in like a couple years, like 5 years.
Juwan Johnson's going to get a touchdown.
Oh, sure, he has to.
So our Thursday night football matchup, Saints and Broncos. We're gonna start with Ryan, or actually, forgive me.
Give it to Alex.
We're going to start with Alex, of
There you
course.
go.
That's what I was going to change, because we have a Saints fan here, so we're going to start with Alex. Who do you have in this game?
All right, so I originally wanted to go with the Saints because I was like, you know what? I mean, we might be able to get this one, pull it out of Louisiana with a dub, but I don't think so, to be honest. As much as it pains me, I took the Buccaneers last week. Buccaneers won. I thought I was jinxing myself. I thought I was like, maybe if I take the Buccaneers, the Saints will win, and the Saints lost still. So I was like, you know what? I guess I'm not bad luck. So I'm taking the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos blitz the most out of any team in the NFL. and the Saints offensive line is very hurt and very injured. So, I mean, that's just on paper, that's just not a good look for the Saints. Rookie quarterback in the backfield as well. He didn't have a terrible game against the Buccaneers. That first half looked really good, but once our defense started to just give up and we couldn't tackle, you can't really put a rookie quarterback in that position and expect him to do well. Because when you're playing from behind, you have to start taking shots downfield. You have to start not playing as smart as you were in the first half. And I think in the beginning he was playing great. I think he had 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions first half. Second half had 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That first interception, it wasn't a terrible throw. It was to Shaheed. I didn't think it was a terrible read either. I mean, he wasn't that open, but it wasn't a bad idea. The second one was just forcing it, and when you're down by 20, it's hard to get your offense back on the field and back to what it was in the first half. But yeah, I think the Broncos have a pretty easy win here. Even with Pat Surtain being out, that secondary and that defense in general is still just one of the best in the league. And yeah, I think it should be I hope it's a close game. I hope the Saints play, and I hope it's still a fun game to watch, but I think the Broncos take it here.
Would you say that you're optimistic of the future with Spencer Rattler in there, or do you think they're going to go right back to Derek Carr when he comes back?
I love watching a running quarterback. Like, it's just so fun to watch. It makes the game so fun. Like, I can't imagine being a Ravens fan and seeing Lamar Jackson, or being a Steelers fan and seeing Justin Fields run around everywhere, and that's just seeing Spencer Rattler do what he did. Even losing by that much, it was just still fun to watch. Like, I had a lot of fun watching the game, especially that first half. I was getting pretty hyped, especially with the 3 interceptions. But, yeah, I hope we keep Spencer Rattler at least. I'm okay with Derek Carr starting, but I think sometime in the future, I really hope Spencer Rattler becomes our QB1.
Yeah, it'll definitely be cool to see. I believe he was, a 5th-round pick?
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
5th-round pick.
And that was primarily, from my opinion, based on his talent. He was the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school.
Yeah, he was.
Got his job stolen by Caleb Williams. Obviously, rest his history on that. But I think he definitely has the talent. Just got to get him settled in, let him play with the big boys, and certainly could turn it into a pretty decent quarterback. Let's go over to Hunter.
I'm going to have to go with the Saints in this one. I think they're going to bounce back this week. They are at home. They did give up 51 points to the Buccaneers last week, but come on. You know how big I am on Baker Mayfield. Love Baker Mayfield. So, I mean, yeah, I think the Saints bounce back in this one. I haven't been high on Bo Nix yet. I mean, he did cook the Packers in the preseason, but that was preseason, and that's the only good side I've seen out of him. So, I'm going to take the Saints in this one. I think Kamara has a big night.
Okay. All right. Now we got 1-1. And, a disgruntled sigh over here from Adam, Bo Nix believer. Who do you have in this game?
Yeah, I was about to make a comment, but I wasn't, but I contained myself. I had to go with the Broncos too, because, yeah, I understand that the offense hasn't been the strong suit, for the Broncos, but the Saints too. I mean, their offensive line is just banged up. Honestly, I could see them just getting by the Saints by a field goal or something. So yeah, give me the Broncos.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah. This definitely doesn't really seem. This seems like one of those matchups where it's not supposed to be high scoring, and then all of a sudden both teams score 35 points just for no reason. I don't know why. I just get the vibes from these games, unless it's going to be another Broncos Colts 2021. I don't know if you guys know the game I'm talking about.
Oh, I do.
Thursday night,
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan,
yeah.
quarterback matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
It's still, to this day, the worst NFL game I've ever seen.
remember
So I'm really hoping we don't get
That
another
was
one.
abysmal.
Was there an offensive touchdown that game?
No, it wasn't.
Just field goals?
All field
Yep.
goals. And then I think Russ missed a wide open receiver at the end
Yep,
to lose the game.
remember that.
Terrible football. But yeah, let's move over to the fishbowl. Chris, what do you got?
This is a tough one, but I think with the Saints injuries, I'll have to go Denver. The Saints are just quite banged up right now. They don't have everybody, especially their defense. So I think Bo Nix, not just do the Broncos win, I think Bo Nix will have himself a good game. I think he'll do pretty well, and I'm not against Bo Nix. I believe in him, but I'm not as high on him as some other people are. But I think he'll have himself a solid game. I'm not like Adam over here, but I really do hope Bo Nix does good. Just I'm not up there.
He's like a halfway Bo Nix believer. Yeah.
I'm like right here. You got people who
All right,
doubt
I'll
him down
take
here,
that.
and then
I'll
you
take
got
that.
Adam who's up here. I'm like right there in the middle.
Okay.
But I think he'll have himself a good game, and I think the Broncos come out with a victory.
All right, yeah. I'm definitely not like the biggest fan of Bo Nix, but he's absolutely not a bad quarterback. I think what we've seen from him has been pretty good so far. It is I think some of that is just Sean Payton. I don't think the play calling is all that great. You don't see them pushing the ball down the field. Everything is just like a 5-6 yard check down. I mean, dude's throwing for 98 yards off 20 completions. It's just, I don't really like the play calling
And it
going on in
sucks
Denver.
what Peyton did to Wilson too, because Wilson last year wasn't having that bad of a year, and
Mhm.
they just dumped him. So.
Speaking of Russell Wilson, it's a little preview of things to come, given that he is now named the starting quarterback for the Steelers. But let's move over to Ryan for the final pick for Thursday Night Football.
I'm with Adam on this one. I love the talent we can see with Bo Nix. I think he has so much potential there, which gives me my pick this week for the Broncos to take this one. I think it's going to be a lot closer game than many people think. It's going to be pretty exciting to watch. Like you said, Zach, it's like one of those games where you don't know it's going to be high scoring until it's high scoring. You're like, oh, crap, let me grab some popcorn and actually sit down and watch this one. This is pretty entertaining. But, yeah, I got Bo Nix and the Broncos.
Okay. And
Sean Payton gets his revenge.
Oh, yeah, true. This is a Sean Payton revenge game. I guess I didn't realize that. But I also have the Broncos in this game. It's just really hard to compete in the NFL, even if it's against a team like the Broncos. I just think that injury report is just too deep, missing all your wide receivers, a lot of the offensive line, a little too hard to overcome. So we're going to go with Broncos in the Thursday Night Football matchup. And moving on to yet another Jaguars-London game. Oh, my goodness. Wow. The New England Patriots and Jacksonville Jaguars are set to match up. Like what we saw from Drake May last week, even though you're going up against a tough Texans defense, still throw for 3 touchdowns, a couple picks, but gentlemen, I do not know why we keep seeing the Jaguars in London, but we're going to start with Hunter for this one. Who do you have?
I'm going to take the Jaguars in this one. I think they're going to bounce back in this game. Gabe Davis and Trevor Lawrence looked very good last week. But all props to Drake May. He looked all right last week. He had 20 completions off 33 throws. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns. He did have 2 interceptions, but it's your first start. You're nervous. I mean, anything can happen. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Jaguars in this one, but watch out for Drake May. He could be good in the future.
Okay, yeah. Finally, a Jaguars win in London. Let's go over to Adam. Do you agree with that?
Actually, no, I don't. I mean, honestly, this game, I was just like, why do I have to pick a winner for this? Because this game is such a stinker.
Yep.
But I was like, okay, you know what? I know both teams aren't doing so hot, but I'm going to take the Patriots winning that game.
Okay. Yeah, both teams 1-5 coming into this matchup. Doesn't really say a lot for playoff implications. Just another game to try to reach the brand of the NFL in other countries. Now, let's go over to Chris.
Do I have to pick a winner?
Unfortunately,
yes, you do.
for Thursday edition of Hawk Talk, you do.
I can't pick a tie. I'm getting
Yeah,
weird.
you can.
Well, they can.
I'm actually
Technically
getting weird vibes that this will be our first tie of the year.
Oh.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
the first reason is I don't want to pick a winner. These two teams suck. And the second reason is I just got that feeling. I got this weird feeling
Okay.
that these two teams will just randomly tie in London. So
I feel like there should be some stakes. If someone predicts a tie and that actually happens, I don't know what it should be because obviously we can't talk about money obviously here.
Yeah.
But maybe if I give you 50 pens.
You
if,
can take one of my meal swipes, Chris.
that's a deal.
Okay.
So you're going with a tie. This is our first predicted tie on Hawk Talk so far.
I can't pick a winner, especially because these two teams suck anyways.
Yeah,
So.
Fair enough.
yes, they do. They're not great, but let's go over to Ryan. Do you also think there's going to be a tie in this game?
No. This one's gonna be directly at Alex Lazzarini. Drake May is going off this week. All right. Lynn Bloom over here can attest to this.
Shout out Laz.
Shout out Laz.
Drake May.
Attaboy,
Laz, you're gonna watch a Drake May masterclass at 8:30 in the morning on Sunday morning. All right, pal. Drake May is going off. The Jags are going 0-2 in London this year. I feel bad for London. What are they? The English people, I guess.
The
you could
English
call
people.
them?
The
Yeah,
English
I mean,
people.
they gotta watch abysmal football. Over here,
Yeah.
so.
We have no beef with anyone that lives in England.
No,
Just
no.
a
They're
disclaimer.
great people. It's
Obviously,
like
yeah.
I feel bad that they have to see the Jaguars 2 weeks in a row play football.
The
Of
NFL
course.
is leaving a bad impression.
It's
Yeah.
not
I
the
was gonna
NFL.
say,
I'm sorry,
you'd
this
think
is
that
not
they'd
it.
send over better matchups, but
And then-
they just get the Jaguars every
And then
year.
they schedule, what is it, Panthers and Giants in Germany later on in the year? Oof,
Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah, shout out Laz. I don't disagree with you. I'll get to my pick later, but let's go over to Alex. Who do you have in this game?
Yeah, I have Patriots as well. They're playing a JV secondary. I'll say they're JV. The Jaguars secondary is just so bad. I think Drake May throws for another 3 touchdowns. Maybe he won't throw 3 picks this time, but I do think Drake May is going to have a big touchdown performance, and I think Patriots take it pretty easily.
Okay, looks like we are going Patriots. I'm also going Patriots myself. That was one of my bold predictions for the week. I had Drake May also throwing 3 touchdowns. Like you said, Alex, the Jaguars secondary just does not look good. They are probably one of bottom 5, bottom 10 defenses. Just don't look good, which is surprising given that this team was very promising only a couple years ago. Jury is still out on Trevor Lawrence, by the way. Busts, allegations are not going away so far. So, anyways, let's move on to our next matchup, which is now the noon games. We have the Seahawks and Falcons. Seahawks coming in 3-3 and Falcons coming in 4-2. And let's start with Ryan for this one.
This is my bold prediction here for this game. I think it's going to be like a fantastic matchup of Geno and Kirk. Fighting the Falcons get it done at home in a thriller. My prediction is that I think this one could go to overtime. Could be a pretty good shootout to watch. And I think both Kirk and Geno both go over 300 yards passing. Like it's gonna be a very good offensive matchup to watch.
Okay, I would certainly hope so. These are two teams that have shown that they can do that on offense. Seahawks a couple weeks ago, I think put up about like 38 points. Falcons obviously against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, total shootout. So looking for another shootout in this game. Let's go over to Chris for this one.
Another tie. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'll pick the Falcons on this one.
Kirk O'Chain.
I'm actually
Kirko.
especially after that Buccaneers game, I just Kirk O'Chains. That's all I can say.
Big Kirko.
Yeah, big Kirko. But I think Robinson will have a pretty good game. I have a good feeling that he'll put up some big numbers against Seattle. I know Seattle's defense has been pretty solid this year, but I just got this weird feeling Robinson's gonna come in and maybe get a couple rushing touchdowns. I think
so. All right, yeah. That would be great for my fantasy team. We still have yet to see that big breakout game from Bijan.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for that. It seems like Tyler Algier just keeps stealing all his carries. Arthur Smith is still somewhere in the building, giving carries to Tyler Algier, I guess. So let's go over to Adam. Who do you have in this game?
Well, I have Kirk O'Chains in Atlanta. I mean, honestly, just the way that Kirk's been playing lately, I could not pick against him.
3 for Kirk O'Chains. Hunter, are you riding the Kirk O'Chain train here?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Falcons here. The Seahawks don't have a very good rush defense, so I think this is the week you could see the Bijan breakout. I mean, he didn't have a bad week last week. He had about 20 fantasy points. He didn't have a touchdown. Did he have a touchdown? I don't think he had a touchdown last week. Maybe he didn't. Or did he have 2? He had 2. Yeah, he had 2. But yeah, I think he had 2. But
He did. He
yeah.
had 2 rushing touchdowns.
But yeah, I got the Falcons this week.
Okay, and looking almost like a clean sweep. Let's go over to Alex. Are you going to break that trend?
No, I'm not. I'm also taking the Falcons. The Seahawks have 3 losses in a row, and the Falcons have 3 wins in a row. I do think it's going to be a good game. Like Ryan said, I think it's going to be a shootout. I do think the game, my bold prediction here, I think it's going to go over 70 combined points.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a huge offensive showdown. And I think Big Kirko takes it here in Atlanta against the Seahawks.
All right, I do not hate that. I also have the Falcons in this game, so we're going with a clean sweep for the Falcons. Ryan, I think if they win, I think you should show up in the Kirk O'Chains, next Thursday in Hawk Talk. I think that might have to be the case.
Who's buying me iced out Kirk O'Chains? So
GLD.
I do not.
It'd
have
be
the
through the
money.
radio station, obviously.
Okay, so Lucas
We'll
is
just get him to.
sponsoring.
Well, I don't want to speak for him, but like I'll help out with the budget potentially.
okay,
I
okay.
think that'd be really
I
cool.
gotcha.
Speaking of, by the way, Chargers won last week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call you out on that.
Yes, they did.
Chargers
He,
won.
he texted
I
me
did.
on Sunday.
I
let me pull
I will
this
buy a
up.
Justin Herbert jersey. I didn't say when I had to though. I'm a broke
buy him
college
like 20
student, so
years.
That's fair. That's fair. I do expect at least one of these Hawk Talks this semester, though. I want to see you in a Justin Herbert jersey.
if it doesn't happen, I promise that the moment it comes in, I will send you a picture and
All right.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
I will
Yes.
get the Justin Herbert.
Sunday at 5:34. He texted me, "Good news, Chargers are winning. Bad news, I have to buy a Justin Herbert jersey now."
He literally kept the receipt.
It's right here.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we have to hold you to that kind of
Yeah.
bold prediction from last week. So
I told him to get one from China.
That is.
shut. I don't know.
Oh,
Knocking it. No. We're not gonna shut them
You
out.
didn't say it had to be a Chargers Herbert jersey. Can I get an Oregon one?
That just
I don't
brings
know if
back memories of that
No, you
of
gotta
that
get
Rose
Chargers.
Bowl.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
No,
When he
no,
cooked
no,
us.
no.
I don't know if that
no, get a
counts.
Chargers one.
Yeah, I don't know if that
No,
counts.
don't wear
Get the
Ducks
Navy
one.
Chargers one. That one's kind of tough.
The powder
Navy?
blues.
Yeah.
Navy, the
I
Navy
will do that.
Chargers.
I will do
Yeah.
that.
Throwback. Oof.
Add that
Those
to the collection.
Ducks. Ugh.
All right. With all that being said, and Chris getting a Herbert jersey, we're gonna move on to our next matchup, which is Tennessee Titans
And Ryan getting Kirko chains.
and Ryan getting Kirko chains, obviously. We're going to move on to Titans and Bills. Bills coming off a, oh my goodness, who did they play last week?
The Jets.
Played the
Jets.
Jets, yeah, and a thriller
Oh, yeah.
against the Jets. Almost looked like they had it easily until they didn't, and Aaron Rodgers happened, and barely escaped with the win last week. So now they play the Titans, and we're going to start with Alex for this one. Who do you have in this matchup?
So I do have the Bills, but I actually think the Titans are going to give the Bills a little bit of a run for their money. Like that Titans defense looks pretty solid, and I mean I can see it being a close game. Like I can see them. Titans could even get like a game-winning field goal last second, and I know Will Levis hasn't looked great, but I still think Will Levis is like a good. Like I think he can still be a good quarterback in the NFL, and I'm not giving up on Will Levis yet. But I am going to take the Bills here, but I think it will be a close game.
So we're expecting a big game from Will Levis. No chance we see Mason Rudolph on Sunday?
I guess we'll have to see, but I also think Tony Pollard is going to have a good game as well.
Okay, yeah, I did not hate that. Not sure if James Cook will be back for the Bills, just for fantasy managers. I know he's got turf toe. Not sure if he's going to be back for this game, but if he is, that would definitely swing things a little more the Bills' way. Let's go over to Hunter.
I am going to agree with Alex here with the Bills take, but I am going to disagree with the Will Levis take. I do not think he's good enough for the NFL. We saw Mason Rudolph come in the other week. Was that against the Dolphins?
Dolphins. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Won the game. That's just my take. I think Will Levis is not ready for the NFL.
Too raw of a prospect, do you think? Just doesn't have it.
Yeah, I just
Mentally, probably?
can't see it. I can't see it. I remember his first week last year when he went off throwing to DeAndre Hopkins, but since then I just haven't seen production from him. So, but
Yeah.
Bills in this one.
Fair enough. I think he's one of those guys that just has got all the talent, but I don't think he's all there up here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just too many errant throws and just too many poor decisions. He's got an arm. Like, the dude can throw the ball, but
Exactly.
where he's throwing the ball, that's a different story.
That's
so. Let's go over to Adam. Who do you have in this game?
Well, I have the Bills over the Titans because, well, it's the Titans. They're not that great. And you said, yeah, Will Levis just isn't. Like, I just don't think he's ready for the NFL either. Like, I mean, yeah, you said that he's a great passer. Like, I get that. He can throw the ball well, but, like, yeah, where it's going to go, that's anyone's guess. But, yeah, I can just see Josh Allen just walking all over the Titans defense. So yeah, give me the Bills in this one.
Okay, and let's go over to Chris. Are you going to stay with the Bills for this one?
I'm going Titans getting blown out. So
You
obviously-
had me there
always
for a
does
second.
that.
Yeah.
He always does
The
that.
Titans getting blown out.
Yeah. Titans are just. Bleh. Yeah. I think
Simply put.
my boy Josh Allen. I'm a big Josh Allen guy. I think he'll have himself a phenomenal game. I think he'll have a couple passing touchdowns and obviously a rushing touchdown. So.
And Bills did just trade for Amari Cooper, yet another weapon to add to that offense. This was a team that obviously traded Stephon Diggs in the offseason, so getting Amari Cooper certainly could put them in contention to possibly win the AFC here. Let's go over to Ryan.
Yeah, Zach, do you just have my notes or something here? Because I have the Bills. I think they're gonna pound the crap out of the Titans, and I think Josh Allen throwing to Amari Cooper, having wide receiver one is gonna be fun to watch. And I agree with Alex. I think Will Levis can be a decent quarterback. I mean, after the first game he had, I literally bought a Will Levis Oilers jersey. That's been sitting in my closet for now.
Oh, no.
That was a waste of an investment.
It looks pretty tough though, so I'm not gonna lie.
At least it
I
looks
love
good.
the Oilers
Those
jerseys.
Yeah, those are
Titans
cool
jerseys are
jerseys.
nice.
There's some
Yeah,
sick
they're really
jerseys,
cool.
Right,
but
they are, but
that's the
still.
purchase I regret.
Might have to, bring out eBay for that one.
Might
We'll
have
see.
to.
How much you want for it?
Yeah.
$25, you want it?
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Bills. I mean, same reasoning. It's just the Bills and it's just the Titans. I mean, simply put. So we're going to go clean sweep with the Bills and move on to the Bengals and Browns AFC North matchup. Two teams that probably would have liked to be a little bit better than where they are right now. But let's start off with Chris for this one. Who do you have?
I got the Bengals, and I also think that this may be the last game we see of Deshaun Watson, hopefully, because he has been playing awful. Kevin Stefanski saying that he's sticking with his quarterback. I honestly don't think that's him saying that. I think that's the higher-ups wanting him because they paid him way too much money.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. They're kind of forced to play him, but they have to take him out if he doesn't play well this week because he's been so awful. He's not the same Deshaun Watson we saw in Houston, and that sucks because when he was in Houston, he was so fun to watch, and then obviously things happened. Yeah, and then he went to Cleveland, and I had a little bit of hope that he'd make a comeback, especially, they got rid of Baker Mayfield. I'm like, I hope this is a second chance for Deshaun, and now it's all backfiring, and Cleveland deserves it all for what they did to Baker Mayfield. So,
Yeah, Cleveland, one of those teams that just figures out how to lose. It's just not. It's ugly there in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson actually ranks dead last in QBR, and honestly, it's not even close. He's behind Will Levis, who we were just talking about, not all that great. Behind Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, all these guys that he's bad. He's bad. That's all we gotta say about that. So let's go over to Adam. Who do you have in this game?
Yeah, I have the Bengals over the Browns because A, Deshaun Watson's not good, and B, because the Browns defense is, I would say, just as bad. So I would say that's a fair assumption. But yeah, give me the Bengals over the Browns in this game.
Yeah, a little bit surprising that the defense has been playing that bad. That was their thing last year. They rode their defense, and now they just don't look good at all. Let's go over to Hunter.
Give me the Bengals in this one, but one note: Nick Chubb is back.
Yes, he
Love
is.
it on my
He
fantasy
is.
team. I mean, his production to start off isn't going to be crazy. He's not going to as many touches, but once he gets back into full swing, look out for him.
if they
Give me the Bengals in
start
this
starting Deshaun Watson, they should just give him the ball every play. May as well.
Yeah, honestly, I think we could see some Jameis Winston here in this game. This feels like one of those games where Deshaun is not going to play well, and then fans are going to boo him, and then I think we could see some Jameis Winston. Nick Chubb, going back to that point, do you think with how, because they're 1-5 obviously right now, so with how bad that they're playing, do you think that they kind of they're not going to fully unleash him? They're just going to kind of limit his touches throughout the whole season, just counting the season as a wash essentially?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It just depends, where they go from here. I mean, it's just how much they win. I mean, if they're not going to be playoff contenders, then they might as well just give them limited touches. But if they have a shot at it, give them the ball.
Yeah. And shout out to Nick Chubb from coming back from a horrific knee injury that looked disgusting. But let's go over to Alex in the fishbowl.
This is a must-win game for the Bengals, especially the divisional matchup, and just getting back into who the Bengals are. I don't think they're, what are they, 2-4?
They're 2-4.
They are not a 2-4 team. Their offense, at least. I mean, their defense is struggling. And the Browns, I actually saw something that their first 6 games this season are very similar to their first 6 games of their 0-16 season, stat-wise. It's almost identical. So that just kind of proves how bad a team they are. You gotta put Jameis Winston in there, I think. But yeah, Bengals take this one pretty easily, I think.
Who did the Browns beat is the question. I forget who they even,
Did not.
Yeah, that's a good question.
because that must have been a really bad team. Oh, it's the Jaguars, of course. Oh my goodness, maybe the only worse team than the
Shocker.
Browns.
Wow.
Shocker.
Oh, with the high scoring of 18-13. Oh my goodness, what a game! All right, let's go finish off with Ryan here.
Well, every week I dread talking about the Browns because it's just so bad to talk about. I think this game the Bengals take it. I think it's just a breaking point for the Browns. I mean, Deshaun Watson, I agree with you. I think he's gonna get benched. They're gonna pull like a little Dak Prescott. They're not gonna play good. They're gonna sit him. They're gonna go to Jameis. I mean, the Browns actually screwed themselves with this contract because they have to owe a cap hit to Deshaun Watson for the next 2 years, $72 million apiece every year, and the dead cap hit is $172 next year and $99 million the following year. and there's no void, there's no out, nothing.
Wow. For one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, too.
Yep.
Yeah, that is how you run a franchise into the ground right there. I also have the Bengals. I mean, a no-brainer. Clean sweep for the Bengals. Moving on to what I believe will be the game of the week, Houston Texans and Green Bay Packers. I'm actually going to this game with a couple of my buddies here. My roommate is a huge Texans fan.
Boo.
So, yeah. So we saw this game, and we said we have to go to it. This will actually be my first football game that I've ever been to, which I know being
Oh, really?
yeah, being a football fan, it's kind of embarrassing to say, but
It's awesome.
thank you. Best matchup of the week, in my opinion, Texans and Packers, and we're going to start with Hunter for this one. Who do you have?
Yes. I'm going to try to keep this short because time just flies on the show.
Time is flying, yes.
I'm scared as a Packers fan for this game. This is their first real test.
Same.
And two,
Same.
how is this a 12 o'clock game? It's got to be a primetime game. I know the schedule is made, but this has to be a primetime game.
I wish
this
it was
is
Sunday
a
night.
great game. Has to be primetime.
I agree. Absolutely. So you were taking
The Packers,
you were taking the Packers. Okay. Adam, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I'm like, this is actually my bold prediction. Yeah, I know it's going to be a closely contested game just because of how good like both of the offenses are. But my bold prediction for this game is that there's a combined 60 to 65 points in this game, which I would think seems pretty reasonable. But yeah, I have the Packers winning it by at least a touchdown.
Okay. 2 for the Packers in the potential game of the week. Let's go over to Chris. Who do you have this game?
I may be wearing the Packers jersey, but I actually think we lose to Houston, unfortunately. And
Wow.
I see this game going to overtime, and I see the Texans winning off a game-winning field goal.
Okay. Even with no Nico Collins.
Yeah.
All right.
I think the Texans are just a really good team, and we're gonna have a real test this week. But I think we hold our own. I just don't think we get the win in the end.
Okay. So now we got 2 Packers, 1
That's
Texan. Let's go over to Ryan. Who do you have?
Yeah, I agree. This one should be prime time as well. I mean, it's just unbelievable how it isn't. But I think the Packers squeak out a pretty tough win here. I think it ends on either a Jair or Xavier McKinney pick. So
Love that.
Another Xavier McKinney
I would
pick.
love if McKinney made up for not getting a pick last week by
Yeah.
getting 2.
Kyler didn't
Yeah, I
test
know.
him, though. Kyler was scared.
No,
he
he
knew.
did
it
not.
wasn't good throwing weather. It was
Yeah.
like a really light, annoying rain the whole game.
Kyler learned
Yeah.
his lesson, but it didn't help anyway. They got blown out.
That's true. I'm assuming you were probably disappointed last week, Ryan. You know, being a big Cardinals fan, obviously.
I'm not. I just think they're like an underrated team. Like the Cardinals, they don't get the respect they deserve. I think Jonathan Gannon has really stepped it up in his second year. Kyler has played phenomenal. I mean, just wait until Call of Duty drops. But
Yeah, right.
right now, him and Marvin Harrison did not get a target last week or a reception. I don't know if he got targeted or not, but
I believe he got hurt.
He did. I know he
Yes.
left the game with a concussion, but I don't think he was targeted before that either. But Trey McBride went off. He's been really good for them. I think the Cardinals are just really underrated, and I think they could be a really good team next year when they're fully healthy and they maybe add another receiver.
Yeah. Don't
That
disagree.
sounds to me like a Cardinals fan. So.
Yeah, I know. He was really in depth with that, whole thing about the Cardinals.
I'm a Packer fan.
Well, don't worry. When we
Sure.
get to the Cardinal game, I'll start with you. Don't worry.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, and let's go over to Alex. Who do you have in this game?
I'm going to keep it quick here. I'm going with the Packers. I think Jordan Love looked really comfortable last game. And, I mean, playing in Lambeau is so hard, so you just have to take the Packers here. It is going to be a really good game, though. Hoping to see a good shootout here.
Yeah, I agree. I also have the Packers in this game. This is my bold prediction. I believe both quarterbacks are going to have 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. This is a game that could easily be 38-35, something we saw similar to the Ravens-Bengals game. I'm hoping and wishing for a shootout because I think that'd be really cool, for the first game I'm going to. So we're going Packers over Texans. And like Hunter was said, like he was saying, time is flying on the show. We only have about 10 minutes left, and we still have 9 games to go. So we're going to kind of go rapid fire here, as we've had to do pretty much every show. So another noon game. We have Dolphins and Colts. It's just going to kind of be a point thing here. Let's just start in the fishbowl. Who do you got?
I got Colts.
Dolphins.
Joe Flacco and the Colts.
Colts.
Upset of the week, Miami Dolphins.
Isn't Richardson playing?
I think Richardson is playing.
Is he playing?
I thought he
Yeah.
was, or I think he might be questionable, and I'm not sure
If they
he's-
play Richardson,
I was going to say, that kind of...
If the
I'm
Dolphins
still gonna.
I'm still going
he's
Colts.
I'm
expected-
still gonna go the Colts.
I'm still going
Richardson's expected to play.
Okay.
I'll still go Indiana.
I do also have the Colts, so looks like we're going to be picking Colts for this game. Still waiting for Tua to come back, if he does come back at all. Moving on, another possible matchup of the week, Lions and Vikings. Very, very, very good game. Good matchup. Who do you guys got?
Give me the Lions in this one.
I might have Detroit.
Minnesota.
I don't know how this one's not prime time. I'm going with the Lions.
Okay.
Got the Vikings.
Vikings. Is that a... Okay, I wasn't like really counting.
I
So,
said Lions.
Lions.
Three
Lions,
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 two Vikings.
2 Vikings.
Yeah.
I also have the Lions, so we're
Okay.
going to go Lions in this one.
We avoid the coin.
I was gonna say I don't know if we have
Avoid the
time for
coin.
that, so going Lions for that one. Onto a lesser matchup, Eagles and Giants. Ugh. Okay, let's start in the fishbowl. Who do you guys got?
I do think it's going to be a close game. I have Eagles.
Okay.
Giants upset.
I also got a Giants upset.
I might have the Eagles.
I'm not high in the Giants. Give me the Eagles.
Okay. I also have the Eagles in this game. I do not hate a Giants upset though. I'm not sure, is Malik
Yeah,
Neighbors
he's
supposed to be back?
He's back.
He just cleared.
Oh, he's
his
back.
Concussion protocol.
That jersey, my jersey's on the way. All right, it's coming.
That might have to change my pick, but for now we are going Eagles over Giants. Onto the later games, we have Raiders and Rams. Just very interesting matchup. Let's start over here. Who you guys have for this game?
I got the Raiders.
Raiders. Okay.
Rams.
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 All right. I also have the Rams, and this is coming off the Devontae Adams trade, which we'll probably get into a little bit when we get to the Jets game, but we're going Rams for this game. On to the next late matchup, we have the Carolina Panthers and Washington Commanders. Let's start in the fishbowl for this one. Who you guys have?
Commanders.
Jaden Daniels and the commies.
My boy Jaden Daniels.
I might have Jaden Daniels and the Commanders.
Give me the team that can't beat any good teams, the Commanders.
All right.
Wow.
Whoa!
Wow. Hot
Whoa!
Fraud allegations.
Sit right here.
Fraud allegations.
take. You need to sit right here.
Whoa! Can't beat a good team. Blew out the Cardinals. All right, they're a decent squad.
Yeah, okay, good team, sure. Let's
They
go
beat
with
the
that.
Bengals, who put up a good fight. But, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was a close game. It was a close
I
game
guess
against the Ravens.
It was in
you know?
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That's the only win I'll give them that's decent.
I
Thank
also have Jaden Daniels in this game. We are going Commanders for this one. Let's move on to a Super Bowl rematch. Another potential game of the week. There's so many games of the week here. The undefeated Kansas City Chiefs going into the Niner Stadium, Levi Stadium. Who do you guys have for this Super Bowl rematch? So over here.
I actually have the 49ers in this one.
Niners. Okay.
Chiefs.
I got a Niners bounce back.
Niners.
Unfortunately, the Chiefs.
Chiefs. I am going Niners here. I think that this is finally where we see a little bit of regression from this Chiefs offense. Their 5-0 record doesn't really show how good I think they're worthy of a 3-3 record, if not for probably a couple penalties and a couple lucky bounces of the ball. But
Isn't that a tie?
isn't that a tie?
No, I think
No,
it was
because
4-2.
we was four Niners and 2 Chiefs.
Who else picked the Niners?
I think
Niners.
Oh yeah,
Niners.
1, 2, 3.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are going Niners for this one. Niners at home in the Super Bowl rematch. Tough for them that this isn't the Super Bowl, but let's move on to the late game, the Sunday night game. The Jets, newly acquired Devontae Adams, finally getting back together with Aaron Rodgers. Feels like a love story, with him coming back
Like a bit
to
of a
Aaron
homecoming.
Rodgers. A little bit, yeah. I don't know if you guys just saw that clip on the Pat McAfee show
Yeah.
of him just already in the background of the interview.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He had been on the flight like Saturday night.
Oh, probably.
because-
Yeah.
And then the trade just went. It went official.
He was
so.
ready to get out of
Oh,
there.
he was. Yeah, his bags were packed in August.
Yeah, probably had a slumber party at the stadium the night before. But with that being said, who do you guys have? Let's start in the fishbowl, Jets and Steelers. Who do you guys have?
Because of Russell Wilson, I'm going Jets.
Ron on the Jets.
All right.
Makes me shed a tear. Rodgers and Adams back together. I go Jets.
I mean, originally I had Pittsburgh, but I'm going to go with the Jets.
I have the Jets, but I think the Steelers can still mix Justin Fields into this offense with some design QB runs.
Okay.
I like that.
a lot.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a 2-quarterback system. Honestly.
Put him in a kick returner.
Dude,
I
they were
remember
talking at
seeing
the
that.
beginning of the
They
year.
were talking about that.
Yeah, remember
yeah.
remember the Madden 25 trailer?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I also have the Jets in this game. A little bit interesting that they decided to go with Russell Wilson. I know that Justin Fields wasn't really pushing the ball down the field, but they were still 4-2.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not bad by any means. So a little bit of an interesting decision there. And now with 5 minutes left, we have the two Monday night games. We have Ravens and Buccaneers. Another great matchup this week. We're gonna start with in the fishbowl. Who do you guys have for this game?
Ravens.
Ravens and some popcorn.
Baltimore.
I might have the Ravens.
Okay.
I can't pick against my boy Baker. Give me the Buccaneers.
I also actually have the Ravens in this game, although I certainly think that this could be a Buccaneers win. A little bit surprised it wasn't more split with the picks here, just with how much that offense is rolling, and a little bit questionable, secondary-wise from the Ravens. I think that Baker's probably going to feast. I mean, he could easily have 300 yards, 4 touchdowns again. And the last Monday night matchup, and of course we're going to start with Ryan because it is the Cardinals. So we got the Chargers and the Cardinals. Ryan, who do you have in this game?
I want to order 2 Justin Herbert jerseys for this one, Chris. I got the Cardinals.
Okay.
I'll just stick with the one, but I'm still going Chargers.
All right.
Chargers.
Oh, man.
I got the Chargers.
Oh my goodness. All right, Alex.
If Marvin Harrison is playing, I'm taking the Cardinals, but if he's out, then I'm taking the Chargers.
What is the word on Marvin Harrison?
think
I
he's
saw
still in
earlier that
concussion
he was
protocol.
still in concussion protocol.
So I guess I'm going Chargers now because
Hey, they activated Zay Jones to the 52-man roster.
Whoa, what a needle mover.
You never know.
Yeah, as of 13 minutes ago, Marvin Harrison Jr. returns to practice. Now it's encouraging. Obviously, does not mean he's going to play, but looks like he is possibly on the way to playing. And Ryan, I am also going to go Cardinals in this game, which means that I gotta pull this up now.
Is it 3-3?
No, it's only 4-2.
Yeah, it's
Zach.
4-2.
Is it?
Yeah.
Just you and I went
I'm taking
Cardinals.
if Marvin Harrison is playing. Which
Okay.
I mean, if
Okay,
he
so
is-
then-
he
so
is
then
in
let's assume-
practice.
Okay.
So then what do we?
I'll go Cardinals.
Go Cardinals?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I gotta pull.
There's the underdog.
You
for me. I
gotta
don't know. I don't know
flip
what I like
this
about
game.
them. I just
Flip the
like
coin.
Kyler to.
Flip the
Kyler's
coin.
fun to watch.
Kyler's so
He
fun
is
to watch.
And
He's,
James Conner is just insane.
James Conner is like one of the most underrated running backs in the league.
All right, so we're gonna have heads Chargers and tails Cardinals.
UOT is going to be Cardinals.
And it's heads. I feel like it's heads every time.
I don't know. I don't really
That
think
coin's
it's a,
got to be like.
It's
Usually
not.
it's tails, but
it's a rigged coin. It's not a 50-50 coin over here. So unfortunately, we're going Chargers for this one.
Fortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No,
That's just because
I said fortunately.
Well, that was also just because I picked the Cardinals. But all right, so now with 2 minutes left, we're gonna have some final thoughts. I would like to know for this week, what is one player or one team that you're really going to be watching out for? That could be a player that was just traded, a player that you think is going to do really well in fantasy this year. Let's start in the fishbowl with Alex.
I think this just Vikings team in general. I think it would be cool to see him go 7-0, and the Lions are good. So this is like another test, so to speak, for the Vikings because I think a lot of people still believe they're frauds, and I think the Vikings are real, and I think this is a game to kind of prove that. And I think this game's very very exciting.
All right, over to Ryan.
I like what we saw with Drake May last week against a really tough Texans defense, and I think Drake May has another fantastic game. I think I'm gonna shove this one in Laz's face, but I think Drake May is gonna be a very good quarterback.
Okay, over to
take
Chris.
that, Les.
I'm excited to see my boy Joe Burrow. I know the Bengals have been struggling a lot this year, but this Browns game could be a big bounce back, and he's having a good year. It's not really on him, just the defense and some struggles, but I'm excited to see Joe Burrow, and I also learned that Ryan is definitely a Cardinals fan today, so
At least we said that in stone. Yeah, definitely a get-right game for the Bengals. Over to Adam.
Well, I guess one guy that I've always been high on since the beginning. It would have to be Devontae. Like, I really want to see what he does with the Jets this coming game.
Yeah, that's the question. Will he be the number one? Will he be the number two with Garrett Wilson in that offense? That's certainly something to watch out for. And finally, let's finish up the Ryan or Hunter.
I'll make this quick. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he needs to turn up, man. I think he hasn't had the best year so far.
Yeah, and they're going up against a Vikings secondary. That's a really good defense. Not sure what we're going to be able to see from them, but I do have Amon-Ra on my fantasy team, so hopefully he does play well. And that's going to do it for us here on 91.7 The Edge WSUW Whitewater. Thank you for tuning in on UWW TV on YouTube. And we're going to get you back into some music and have a great rest of your Thursday.